Hello everybody, West Shrimp Po' Boy. I've been trying to record this for a couple weeks, and I apologize for taking so damn long. But ooh, baby, ooh, those are gonna be good. Skin and bone contained sardines, spiced sardines, Portuguese. Oh yeah, baby, we're going in tonight. Oh, this is so fucking kick-ass. But anyway, nature giving me the finger a lot, and then individuals not appreciating that. When you suck at editing, you gotta refilm and refilm and refilm until you get the best take across the board, and then get ready to upload it, right? No appreciation. That shit whatsoever. Anyway.
So today I'll be reacting to a video about coffee and caffeine from Ken Berry, who I'm actually extremely disappointed in.
Nowhere near as disgusted as I am with you
For making this video. You know, this is a clear attempt to validate his own addiction.
First up, you don't know if it's an addiction or not. So that leads to number two. You do not know if he's trying to validate an addiction that you do not know whether he has or doesn't. Fuck off.
To coffee.
There also is a difference between someone who enjoys something and someone who gets addicted to it.
Because it is an addiction.
You don't know that. Whether it is or isn't. You don't know either way. Shut the fuck up.
You know, he is addicted to it.
You don't know that, fucker.
And a lot of people in the carnivore space do drink coffee still, which is crazy.
You say it's crazy according to your opinion.
It's incredibly stupid.
According to your shitty opinion.
Given that it is a plant toxin.
You say it's purely a plant toxin. See, that's ridiculous too. It all depends on how you brew it, how you consume it, how much you consume of it, when you consume it, and what else you can do to offset some of caffeine's negative points of view. And don't drink it all fucking day.
And people go so out of their way to avoid vegetables, and yet they're willing to put poisonous caffeine into their body. But that's fine, whatever, right? So be it. They want.
Yeah, says this fucking idiot who went from carnivory to this fucking bullshit here. Seriously, hypocrisy. This has a fuck ton more oxalate than this stuff does. That's just one anti-nutrient I can go into. I got the references from my Paul Saladino video where I talk about the chemistry behind why I propose phosphoric acid can be neutralized and should be considered if people fucking want to drink coffee. And some of my folks that dealt with osteoporosis were told to lessen their coffee intake, as well as not drink Coca-Cola or Pepsi or anything that's got phosphoric acid in it. Same damn thing. So, I think I'm the only motherfucker on the internet that is bringing this to the table for all of you to see in the world. How you can possibly, I say possibly, because I can't say this with absolute certainty, but based on my chemistry knowledge of how phosphoric acid works, it could be a co-contributor, an amplifier to caffeine's mineral metabolism fuckery capabilities. I'll teach you this one right here. I got a package of filters I'm going to use when I brew this thing again. When I make a little mocha pot of coffee. This is, my good people, a brass wire screen of 80 mesh. I got two of these. Okay, I got two of them. Right? See that? One goes on the bottom for the coffee to sit on. This one sits on top of the coffee, between the coffee and the paper filter. Put on that. Okay. What that does is it makes coffee react to phosphoric acid as the beans start to swell from the moisture and steam of water. And there's just enough steam pressure to start forcing stuff out. Now, this is not espresso. It cannot be espresso. It has to be extremely high pressure brewed, forced through there. Pressures have to be really high and be forced through there until It comes out by pure pressure, and it brings the crema out. And it leaves a crema. Now, you don't hear the friction of this, do you? You know why you don't hear friction? You don't hear rubbing? I put a little bit of castor oil in the bottom 2 threads of this mucka pot here. And what it does is when it oxidizes over time, it leaves what's called a castor varnish, if you will. A ricinoleate derived varnish. And that varnish is what will cause seizures in 2-stroke racing internal combustion engines, which is why they'll use it when they don't have any high performance synthetic oil, because see, it doesn't even make a noise when you screw it on like that. See, it's beautiful like that. So that varnish in this application lubricates these threads and extend their lives. And it doesn't affect the taste of your coffee because it's not going to fucking get in there. I promise, okay? You know what you're doing. You just get your finger, get on the bottom 2 threads, and avoid the top thread, and you'll be fine. It'll just disperse like so, and it'll make a varnish. And it'll be smooth turning like this, and it'll seal just as tight as without it. And it'll increase the longevity of the threadings in this by lubricating itself, and it works. Now I was forced to spinning it real fast. That's why you started to hear something, but and it was at an angle. And it was kind of gravity and all, and my way of holding it was making noise. But there you go. I just showed you a way of using copper and zinc alloy brass to neutralize phosphoric acid in coffee as you brew it, and using a mucka pot. You're welcome. There are many other tricks to do for that exact purpose, and I'll link that down below. Those references to justify my case for me. And you lessen the mineral metabolism fuckery a lot doing that. Putting taurine in it before you drink it. 1 gram to 2 grams of taurine into the coffee. If you're going on a long period of fasting, this will be perfect for that, because the adrenaline and cortisol and glucocorticoid side effect, secondary reactions, right, that it helps release, will help you trigger autophagy more easily. That's something to consider.
Want to do that, that's fine. That's their prerogative.
Let's see, and I just nuked the majority of his plant toxicity, and I nuked the shit out of him. Yeah.
But the difference between them and Ken Berry is that people like Bar K or Dr. Kiltz, they're not promoting coffee as something that's okay or safe.
They're not promoting it as something toxic either, like you are. Fucknut.
In this video, Ken Berry, to his 2.3 million subscribers as a carnivore doctor, is going to tell people that coffee is safe.
To some degree, towards the end, he goes towards that direction, yes. Mostly, though, what he did in his video was debunk a lot of claims peddled like they were fact when they were not substantiated by anything. At best, a couple of them might have been able to be substantiated if you consider weak associations worth taking in as fact, right? So let's get into that.
And that is just where I don't understand. Like, there's such a massive disconnect here.
There's a lot of disconnect with your head when you do shit like this. But then again, you're one of the Ogenus brothers. God damn it, Luke. Fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Speaking of Ogenus, speaking of Ogenus, the actor who died in fucking Ladyboy, Capital of the Earth. I wonder if his girlfriend was 15 or had a penis. Speaking of penises, hey Joey, when are you gonna get Frank to famous the shit out of the slit of yours?
He's promoting a meat-only diet, and yet is saying that caffeine the toxin that plants use to defend themselves and kill bugs or prevent bugs from eating them.
Again, I'm going to say this. You do not know how caffeine toxicity works or how theobromine toxicity works. You clearly don't.
A toxin that stresses out the human body.
It can, unless you use it a certain way, which I gave about how to instill, raise the fucking likelihood of fucking autophagy.
Is somehow good for us or safe to consume. Something is not right there.
There's a lot wrong with your fucking head when you say that and then simultaneously talk about juicing veggies. Fuck off.
It's like a drug addict saying that their drug is not that bad. I mean, people do this all the time.
It's not even remotely similar. False equivalency fallacy.
Weed smokers say that, oh, weed is not that bad, right?
There's a difference between getting a fat boy and passing it around between friends in a social gathering, using it on a weekend to help you meditate, or if you're a newbie that started meditating in your 20s or older. There's a difference between that and then using it for medical purposes or using CBD that has a little THC in it because it's extracted from hemp and from pot. There's all the cannabinoids, but CBD being the majority. There's a difference between using that kind of, which is not pot, but still. There's a difference between that and using it as a psychological crutch to run away from your troubles or try to avoid your problems instead of face them. Like a lot of stoners do, unfortunately, for them. Sad. And that contributes to more dysfunctionality in families and shit down the line. Just give it a chance. It's like a numbers game. It's like that story Don Pena said. Guy said, hey, girl, want to fuck? He slapped enough times, and one of them finally said, sure. He said, hey, babe, want to fuck? And finally one of them said, yeah, sure. Why not? So they went doinkity doink, I suppose. It's kind of like a numbers game, watching for those kind of effects. You'd have to know it. You got to be... you got to see it for yourself. Those of you out there, probably a lot of you know what I'm talking about already, but you'll see. So,
weed calms you down. It's good for you.
It can be, like I said. Although I will warn you, if you have a family history of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or certain other neuropsychological fucking problems, I would strongly consider getting evaluated neuropsychologically and shit or whatnot. And if that's true, I would probably avoid. If I anything, I would advise seeing about it and sticking to CBD or something. I would probably avoid the shit, pot in general, because I don't want to. I personally, I would advise going to somebody about that. That's what I'm going to advise. Going to someone who knows about this shit about it. And getting them kind of evaluations and shit done. Because if you come from a family history of that, you have a propensity of exciting psychosis, neurological changes that can induce psychoses and bring that out. You do have a chance of that. That is a real thing. And while I don't think drunk driving should be a crime these days. I think you should pay compensation or have your property seized by say if you kill yourself and someone else being fucked up, the immediate family or the closest relatives have every right to seize all your property and say fuck you as compensation for killing their family member or members. It's killing or hitting and running's the crime, or killing someone should be the crime. Yeah, and you sent yourself to fucking hell, so why the fuck should they care about punishing you? It should be restorative justice or something like that. I'm not going to go into all the fucking views I have on drunk driving and the roads, but I do see a higher utility for some private road owners to want to say, hey, you're not going to smoke pot, you're not going to drink alcohol and get under the influence on my road if you're going to use this. And if you're caught, and that way you can actually make it a crime as a form of contract law breaking in that regard, then you can do it. I can see that happen. But I wouldn't drive under the influence of that shit. I wouldn't. I simply just fucking wouldn't. So.
This is the same thing here. Caffeine may even be worse.
That's debatable.
So, let's see what he has to say about it, and I'm gonna, thoroughly debunk.
You ain't debunking fuck, boy.
All these claims that he makes about coffee being good or safe.
That's only towards the end. This is a well-poisoning fallacy at its finest, fucker.
Hey, I'm Dr. Ken Berry, family physician, and in this short video, we're going to explore the question, is coffee bad for you?
Of course.
Coffee,
according to your opinion, again,
has been vilified by many sources. Even some religions are anti-coffee.
And rightfully so.
You have an opinion, and it's not substantiated, Joey. Where is your fucking reference list? Oh, wait, you don't have one. You're just shilling your stuff. Fuck you.
Coffee is a toxin.
Wrong again.
Human beings have only been drinking coffee for the last 500 or 600 years.
Sorry, Dr. Berry. I don't. We've been doing it a little bit longer than that. 500 to 600 years is if you're talking European descent, like you, myself partially, and Joey here, and as for examples. If you're Japanese, anywhere from 400 to 500 years. If you're a Semitic subbranch of Caucasoid from the Arabian Peninsula, or if you're a fucking Ethiopian, there's an oral tradition that goes back to the 850s. The 850s AD or CE, whatever you prefer. There was a goat herder in Ethiopia that witnessed some of his goats munching on the coffee cherries and getting fucking hyper, bouncing away hyper, like, hee hee! Fucking hyped up. And he's like, what's going on here? Let me go look. So he did, and then he said, So he tasted the coffee cherries, like, oh, that's not bad. That's different. Okay, it's interesting. What about the seed here? Started messing with it, trying different things. Like, yeah. Let me see if I can roast it. And so he had a pan over fire. Everybody had a pan at some point. It's a fucking global phenomenon. A pan, right? Roasted some of them seeds over fire. He's like, oh, that's beautiful. What nicer aromas. So he did it, and he said, let me see. That's strong. Woo! So then he started trying. So then he tried brewing it with some hot water. He's like, oh shit, this is good. And he was hyped up. He's stimulated. So I gotta take this, share this with somebody. These goats are onto something. So he goes, I think, to a mosque or a monastery. I don't remember. And he says, hey guys, look, check this out. Taste this brew. And they were like, whoo, shit, this is good. We gotta share this around, buddy. And that's what happened. That's according to the oral tradition. And that's been an oral tradition for longer than most of us drank coffee, as most other ethnicities have drank coffee. And it finally so that's the oral tradition, how it started. It was an oral tradition passed down in Ethiopia, Yemen, and other parts of the Arabian Peninsula that had coffee and drank it. Until it was recorded and handwritten down in 1671. It was a purely oral tradition for that long until 1671 when it was written down. So we've been drinking coffee as a species longer than at least 700 to 800 years, at least. But on the same token, just because we started drinking something or eating something for a few hundred years does not make it bad for us or good for us. And just because we consume or eat or drink something for thousands of years doesn't mean it's necessarily good or bad for us. If anything, thousands of years might give us an ability to adapt to some of it, to side effects, maybe, and that's just really stretching it there. But the only way to actually determine is if it's going to cause you a harm or cost you in some way, or if it's going to give you something or benefit you. And then once you have those facts, then you make your value judgment yourself.
So I think it's a valid question, and we should look into it.
So that's where we disagree. I mean, that alone doesn't warrant it. And I'm not shitting on Bart. I'm not shitting on Doc Berry at all. I'm not. This is just a constructive criticism. I'll give you an example. This is a capsule of vitamin K2 MK4. It's a capsule. Capsules are not good or bad. Well, they can be okay. Some people might not tolerate the cellulose, or some might not handle the gelatin, so they got to use something else. Well, you know, it's what carries inside of it that can be good or bad, as in cause you something or benefit you in some way. And this is a modern invention. You're welcome, folks. This is how you handle. This is how to be objective about that.
If you know someone who loves coffee,
It should be pretty much common knowledge that.
No, it shouldn't. And I know what you're about to say. I just debunked it before you can even get a chance to start it.
Anything we started eating like a few hundred years ago is probably not suitable for us or optimal for us. Even things like,
Which is bullshit.
dairy and grains, we've had those for thousands of years.
We had grains since before the agricultural revolution, but when it comes to grains, we can do better by it. For the I used this. I updated this statistic. My adjustments to these statistics on corn use in 2021. But corn would intercrop. This is the best way to use corn as one example. Like other grains, you'll have to find legume grain pairings to do the same, to get similar effects with them, and then you can follow this motif the same. Corn would intercrop with fava beans, one row of fava beans next to one row of corn in the same field. Over yielded in the same acres, with corn over yielding by 43% and favas by 26% in nitrogen, high phosphorus, piss poor dirt. Imagine if you strip-tilled with mulch between the rows, then occasionally added Wallach's blooming minerals, aquaponics, fertilizer excess. Whoo boy, that would be interesting. All these, that's just something to throw in with a few paychecks, or a few savings when you shrink down your irrigation water costs and your land use. All these marked down corn segments can be distilled into dry distillers grain solubles. Part of those, 85% of them at most, can have their corn oil extracted, which has fewer steps to make corn oil from regular corn for store shelves, and it goes into biodiesel where it fucking belongs instead. So it's not put in the human food supply, and it doesn't take as much energy because it's nowhere near as many steps to process. Because you got to separate the corn germ from corn, and if it's wet milled or if it's dry milled, there's even more steps depending on that. You de-germ the corn, then you press the corn of the germ, and then you add it back to the fucking corn. Well, this case, you just distill it, you ferment it, distill it, and then you get it. You take 85% of it and extract all the fat from it. The corn oil from that there you go. You eliminate so many processes and steps there. The distiller's grain can be fed to cattle, moistened or not, mixed at most 20% by dry weight into sprouts or freshly mowed grasses, or all the above. I will admit the aquaponics grown sprouts are better due to less infrastructure and and so on and so forth. You get the point. This is the best way to use grains or something similar to this. This is just a framework using corn because my side of the planet grows corn and it grows it well. And this would start reversing we only got 50 something years left of good harvest before shit goes south. Because stripping the dirt is apparently, really fucking not a good idea. Oh, no fucking shock. Like I said, growing this stuff's the inefficiency of how we do it is the problem. All the subsidy and politicking around it too.
Coffee in the last 500 years, he says. That
Which is not technically correct. It's debatable at best.
is very, very recent.
Or you know someone who hates coffee, please consider sharing this video with them. You can share it on all your social media and help me reach more people and help them understand both their medical health and their nutritional health issues. Now, let's talk about this. There are so many myths and superstitions and rumors out there about coffee. It's got to be bad, right? We've all heard that coffee stunts your growth. My grandmother...
Of course coffee's bad.
That you just ignored the myth he talked about. That's been peddled for years, for a century, easily. You just go, of course coffee's bad, and ignoring the myth he actually pointed out being a myth.
Right, of course coffee's bad. Plant toxins are bad.
So says someone so says the boy who unironically does shit like this that gets you fucking memed for years. I may on myself quite often. I better not show that George Floyd meme. That would not be good for me. I better not. I'm tempted. Fucker, I told you to pluck the turkey. But yes, so says the fucking numbskull that says shit like this.
Every single time you've been sick, your body has detoxed. Every single time you are removing toxins, whether that's a cold, strep throat, it doesn't matter. It is all the same thing. You are,
which is ridiculous.
the foundation of your understanding of truth should lie in instincts, more specifically, deprogrammed instincts, not what science says, because what science says is usually wrong.
You sure about that? Yeah, this is from the same Joey Schwartz.
Trust yourself. Trust your perception of the world, what you think to be true, and then go based off that. Go research from there.
This is Mr. Mafeel's Joey Schwartz. What a fucking humor. Goddamn, Luke's been on one since this kid pissed him off.
Caffeine is quite literally a pesticide that's used to ward off herbivores.
Again, you don't know how toxicity of theobromine or toxicity of caffeine fucking work at all.
Like, what? I want to really quickly...
Now you see why I brought up the capsules thing. He just conceded to my calling this out, just to quote, he just admitted he had made no point. He is conceding to the fact he had made no point by doing this because he is shilling a modern invention used to be a delivery system for really concentrated organs. I mean, I take him here too. I just got finished with my week on one bottle of my raw multiples by natural sources. Sorry. And it has not only everything he's going to list in the next bottle he's going to shill, but also it has pituitary, it has thyroid, it has thymus, it has stomach, it has spleen, it has kidney, it has I think I said pituitary. If not, there you go. It has all that, and then it has American ginseng extract, which gives it an adaptogenic property. On top of, apparently some still yet to be identified fatigue and isolated anti-fatigue chemical that's in liver apparently. And I'll link the Christian Bates link about that. Try to play fair here. But I will warn about when you're going carnivore, and you remember, more does not always mean better. For instance, liver has a lot of vitamin A and a fuck ton of copper. Be careful with it. If I was to eat it, if I was to eat it on a regular, what I would consider, like, my suggestion would be try it. You know, if under the guidance of someone who knows this shit, if they're willing to try and experiment out, like an ounce of grass-fed, grass-finished, ideally undefatted, you know, liver, to 16 ounces of muscle meat and animal fat mince, or an ounce of spleen to 16 ounces of mince like that. Anywhere from 80-20 to 73-27, anywhere in that range, ideally, or 1 ounce of each to 16 to 18 ounces of that of mince, and then have that a couple times a week, something like that, to ensure that you get every B vitamin, every vitamin, all your retinoids, and all that stuff. I will warn you, that's why I would handle it that way, because vitamin C is extremely, extremely, extremely high. The richest animal food source of vitamin C is spleen, cofactors included, and super high amounts of heme iron. You can overload your body's ability to regulate with that if you're not careful. I would hypothesize anyway, so it could be an issue. It's possible, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there, please. Correct me if I'm wrong. And liver could be a copper or vitamin A hypervitaminosis risk. And what the fuck am I seeing, Luke? What the fuck? God damn, boy, that is cursed. What am I gonna do with your fucking ass?
Thank the sponsor of this video, Optimal Carnivore. I've actually been taking 3 capsules of this brain supplement every single day.
And it's clearly not fucking helped you, Annie.
Just to see how I feel, see if it gives me a bit of a mental boost. And
why didn't you use that mental boost to admit when you're fucking wrong about shit instead of being an arrogant cunt?
And I actually do feel better when I take about a half.
Why don't you do that? Seriously, if it helps you like that to that degree, why don't you fucking act on it? Actually do that. Here, Luke, here's another screen capture for you to use for a May. There you go.
Half ounce of brain every single day. Optimal Carnivore is great for those of you who don't actually like the taste of organs. And
I already beat this, and a little bonus, little spoiler. Mine, including shipping, mine's at worst, depending on who I get it from and their shipping, what they charge for shipping, is at worst half of the cost of his, and I still get that much more, and I get that much variety, and I get American ginseng extract to make sure I have an adaptogen in there. But I also could buy taurine, and I could buy Primal Feast from Longevity Power, put them together, and take that in a capsule, cut that with taurine, and take that in a capsule 3 times a week, and be done. And with the same, with about, I don't know, $15-$16 more in equivalents, and just make it stretch that much further. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I am showing you how to pinch pennies with dried organs. Oh, well, hell no, baby, you're not eating that. And I'll be right back in a second. Finally, I'm back. And if you ever wonder what the fucking red area right here is, I was slamming my head against the fucking desk because of the fucking shit I was hearing. And it didn't help me. My brain was still short-circuiting. My soul was bleeding. Anyways, guys, let's get back into it.
Would rather just take them in a pill form, and you don't really have to worry about forcing them down. Organs are absolutely beneficial.
I warned about liver and spleen being potentially easy to overdose as a possibility, an actual one. So they're not absolutely beneficial. You can take them, just be careful. And if you want to give it a shot, my rule of thumb might be palatable for you when it comes to organs. Who the fuck knows? Heart can be ground up just as part of the muscle meat. Just clean the cartilaginous tissues and real hard, stiff shit out, and you'll be fine.
Grass-fed organ complex has liver, brain, thymus, spleen, gallbladder, kidney, lung, heart, and pancreas. Everything is grass-fed, grass-finished.
I beat you, and I also got more shit in it, including organ tissues, and mine costs less at the raw purchase. Depending on who I get it from, a lot of my purchasing cost is shipping and handling.
You can find them
and
on
taxes, because taxation fucking sucks.
Amazon.com/optimalcarnivore and use code carnivores for 25% off.
When I was growing up, forbid me to drink coffee. I had to
Good.
sneak and
According to your shitty opinion.
drink my cousin's coffee. Many people will say pregnant
Your
women
smugness is disgusting, boy.
should absolutely avoid coffee. It's bad for them or for the developing fetus.
So the NIH actually did a whole study titled Impacts of Coffee During Pregnancy, and it basically talked about epidemiological studies that are revealing that caffeine consumption during pregnancy is associated with adverse gestational outcomes.
There's you another one, Luke. You're welcome. But, that being said, association does not mean causation. Secondly, in this particular instance, that's first off. Secondly, why don't you leak the shit? I cite myself, okay? I link my shit. You better off doing it yourself as well. I mean, fuck's sake.
So he can go ahead and cherry pick whatever studies he wants about
Boy, the fucking projection's strong with this one.
caffeine not being associated with this or not being associated with that during pregnancy.
The projection is strong with this one. Sorry, it was a terrible attempt, but whatever. You get the point.
Or whatever, but why not err on the side of caution and not consume a toxin that a plant is using to defend itself that is causing a stimulating effect in the human body simply because it is stressing us out? That is
And you're wrong again, fucker.
what coffee does. It produces
Wrong again.
stress hormones that give us
That's not the primary drive. You don't even know how coffee works. You're fucking stupid.
a fake sense of energy. This is
You don't know how coffee works at all. You're a fucking reject.
shocking.
A lot of people say that you'll become dehydrated if you drink coffee because of the diuretic effect of the caffeine.
I gotta say, this is a pretty comical attempt to strawman the whole anti-coffee argument. He's bringing up things like dehydration when he could be bringing up kidney issues, the nausea that
There's another Luke. As I was gonna say, there's also inverse associations. Counter that. So what the fuck is your fucking point, boy? What the fuck's your fucking point? Seriously, the fuck is your point?
people get, the headaches, the anxiety that caffeine and coffee induce. How about those things instead of bringing up these bad points so he can just simply go and refute them?
You've heard that coffee causes heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis.
I mentioned the phosphoric acid. If you already have osteoporosis, some of my folks who are dealing with osteoporosis were recommended not to fucking go crazy with coffee and stop drinking sodas that had phosphoric acid. There's a chemistry reasoning to it. I got those citations already. At least I'm trying to substantiate myself to some degree with chemistry literacy on my part. Trying to some limited degree, trying to keep myself at least a tiny, infinitesimal bit more credible than you, Joey, while still knowing my place. And I'm open to admit I could be wrong. I would say look further into it, and you could try my invention in different ways. How I use 80 mesh brass wire screening for when I brew shit. And lastly, another important thing. when you want to look into, when you want to look into this particular area, look at the associations for and against coffee, for and against all the different claims. So, yeah, phosphoric acid's a bitch. If you ever notice, there's a completely inverse association between yerba mate consumption. It is completely opposite in bone loss. It's the polar opposite. If anything, people down south of the fucking Mexican border will drink yerba mate and guayusa, and when they do, they're getting all sorts of minerals. And there's an absence of one thing that magnifies caffeine's, I hypothesize anyway, caffeine's mineral metabolism fuckery potential, and that would be phosphoric acid. It has an absence of phosphoric acid. In its place, it has a lot of minerals in it. When grown properly, guayusa and yerba mate have a lot of minerals. What a fucking shock.
We're going to go into all this stuff and figure out what the truth is. What does the research show? What's the common sense show? That's what this video is going to do.
Good. Well, what is the common sense show? That's easy, but let's get
No, it's not, because you don't know what you're talking about.
to it.
The first thing you should know about coffee is that many of the myths that you've heard, and you may actually believe some of them, most all
Your smugness is gross, Joey. Fuck off with it.
of them come from a man by the name of C.W. Post. He had a coffee-like drink that was basically brewed wheat germ and molasses.
And I think malted barley and some other stuff. Again, Gundry talked about it in his coffee video. He was actually on fucking point. This is one area of that coffee alternatives video or whatever that he did. This is the only fucking area he actually got correct. This particular attempt at a coffee substitute is a lectin bomb on your gut and should be avoided. Not just talking gluten and wheat germ and gluten and all that stuff. We're just talking lectins across the board. We're not talking gliadin. We're talking fucking lectins across the board. Jesus Christ.
That he was
It's probably safer.
Bullshit.
trying to compete with coffee back in the early 1900s. And so he would buy full-page
Yep, I called it.
ads in different magazines and newspapers saying that
And that's even considering that Stephen Gundry is a red meat protein phobic veg-tard.
coffee caused this, coffee would stunt your child's growth.
It's never been shown at all. Never even been associated, I don't think. Although someone can find the association and prove me wrong, I'm open to it, but I've never seen such.
Coffee would hurt you in this, that, or the other way. That's where many of these myths came from.
And from as far as I can tell, to this day, they've never been founded on anything.
That's why maybe your grandmother also forbade you from drinking coffee because she was afraid it would harm you in some way. He advertised so ubiquitously that it became part of the national culture that coffee may be bad for kids of pregnant women.
First, let me just say that this is an incredibly weak argument.
You haven't made an argument yet.
To say that coffee is safe because the origins of coffee vilification come from some competitor of coffee who is trying to promote his own product is not an argument.
Yeah, actually, in his case, it is an argument. Because a lot of these things, these claims, were never fucking substantiated. So it is an argument.
This is the equivalent to a heroin dealer saying that cocaine is the worst thing in the world and everyone should avoid that drug so they can be healthy and buy his drug.
It is not the same thing. False equivalency fallacy again.
So therefore, cocaine must be safe, right?
Bullshit. Not even close.
Because it's being vilified by the heroin dealer.
Bullshit. Not even close.
Like, this is crazy.
What's crazy is what's the fucking... Are you soulless here? The fuck?
That's a very weak argument.
It's not a weak argument. It's a good argument. You're just too arrogant to fucking concede to it. So out of copium spiraling and being screechy, being an opinionated little know-nothing shit... By the way, that's what it means to be a know-it-all. You gotta be stupid. You gotta think you know more than you do, and you gotta shove it down people's throats that you supposedly know more than you do.
There definitely are a few negative consequences from
Yeah, there are potentially a few negative consequences.
drinking coffee, but most of them are cosmetic, self-limited, and not dangerous at all.
A cosmetic negative effect from drinking coffee is not anything that should be just dismissed. Any impairment, even cosmetic ones, are almost always indicative of underlying health issues. For example, if you have acne, that's a cosmetic condition, but it means that you have a broken gut.
Not necessarily. That's a generalization of acne. First off, acne can be if you eat chocolate. Apparently, that the cacao might change your gut biome and your biome in your skin to facilitate more increased incidence of acne. I'll link that too. Another thing, you can start actually detoxing substances or seed oils or substances or shit like that out of your body, and then being released into your bloodstream to get processed and get removed from your body. That can cause acne, hypothetically speaking. Inflammation can trigger acne, whether or not you have a broken gut, whether or not you have a damaged gut. There's all kinds of ways acne can be initiated. I know. I dealt with that shit horribly for years. When I seen someone with cystic acne, I fucking felt terrible for them.
If you drink too much coffee, you may get irritable.
Anxiety-inducing, irritability-inducing. Bart K was unfortunately a victim of that for a while, and that's why he stopped for the most part, or maybe completely, if I'm not mistaken. It'll elevate your heart rate, and if you got blood pressure or heart rate issues, you want to cut it. You start weaning off of it.
Or you may notice that if you drink too much coffee, that it uncovers your essential trimmer and seemingly makes that trimmer worse. If you
That's true.
drink coffee within 6 hours of bedtime,
Yeah, that's true too.
you may have some insomnia.
Yeah.
Right, because coffee is a toxin
It's not, again, you toxin. Shove it up your ass, kid.
and it stresses you out.
Not necessarily. Consuming fucking pot after pot after pot of it through the day, that is going to stress you out internally. No shit. A couple cups? No. 1 cup of a diluted cold brew that's diluted, to a good, to say it's close to equivalent to a drip brew and strength of a dark drip brew, that might not do it.
And it
No, again, and if you waited anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours, in other words, 90 to 20 up to 120 minutes, for the adenosine and all that shit to be out of your system for the most part, before you put any to your lips, that actually will lessen the effects later on. You won't get the crash so easily.
gives you fake energy.
It doesn't give you fake energy; it just kicks you to fucking high gear by stimulating your ass. You don't even know how coffee works. Shut up.
At night. Most
Your smugness is disgusting. Fucking quit it, child.
Now, that's not true for everybody.
It's just such a frustrating straw man.
No, you're the frustrating individual. You're fucking entitled.
It's just
My wife can have a nice roasted cup of tasty coffee right before bedtime and sleep like a baby. I, on the other hand, have
coffee is not tasty.
Have you tried coffee, cold brew, with heavy cream and raw eggs in it? Shit's fucking delicious, moron! It's face crack. Play the free crack clip now. Thank you, Ungle and Thunk.
Crack! Let's go get some free 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 crack! Free crack! Let's go get some 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 free crack! Free crack!
Fucking idiot. Opinionated idiot. This dude's fucking... Oh my god, he's absolutely incredible in the worst fucking ways. It's just shocking. Holy shit.
You brainwash yourself
My brainwash. That is such a buzzword to you, boy.
to like the taste because it gives you fake energy.
Children, guess what children like to try getting a hold of? Warm coffee and meat. Why? Tell me. They go straight to meat. If you got it, they're curious about warm coffee. That's not going to burn their mouth. Tell me why, motherfucker. Oh, wait, you can't.
It doesn't taste good. It doesn't taste good. This is why you give babies coffee. They're going to spit it out.
Yeah, sure, bud. Some babies do. Some babies are drawn to it, will try to take it from you. Toddlers, and they get a little older than toddler phase, they are really going to want some. From baby to infant, they want beer. I don't know why they want beer. I still haven't figured. Fuck, I probably got buzzed on it myself when I was 3, sneaking it off of Dad. The Miller High Laughs, especially.
You brainwashed yourself.
You're repeating that this non-point doesn't make it more of a point. It does not make it less of a non-argument, a non-point.
I have to stop my coffee about 6 hours before bedtime. There does seem to be a mild habit-forming effect with coffee. So
I mean, there is, but the real nasty addiction is when you get cold brew and you get to where you want to consume it all the time. I've gotten there, so I cut back a lot. And, you know, I also, when I do make it, I cut the caffeine down by half down to less than half if I can. So
if you drink coffee for a few months and then try to stop it cold turkey, you may have a little increased irritability and even
yes.
a headache.
This is what I find incredibly frustrating.
The one that's frustrating is your fucking dumbass.
There may be a mild habit-forming effect with coffee. Like, what are you saying? That's an addiction. It's an addictive substance that your body relies on. You get a dopamine surge. You get fake energy from it. This is not
fake energy. The more you say that, the more you say that, the more you sound retarded. It does, just because you keep repeating a fucking buzz phrase you use doesn't make it less false.
a little habit forming thing. Like, no.
It can be. Doesn't mean it necessarily is.
This is an addictive, dangerous substance.
No, you're a dangerous disinfo agent, just like Ogenus was.
Take for a few days. That's about as bad as the withdrawals get.
There you go. He admits it. Withdrawals.
You're comparing it to hard drugs. That's what you're doing, and you're full of shit for it.
Addictive.
Now, there are a couple of medical things that drinking lots of coffee, and when I say lots of coffee, I mean more than 3 cups a day, because almost all the research I'm going to talk about later on in this video were based on 300 milligrams or less of caffeine, which is about 3 cups of coffee a day worth. Some people, it looks like that drinking lots of coffee might raise their LDL cholesterol a tiny bit.
I love the protein a tiny bit. Same with triglycerides. I will admit there might be a potential for pissing out magnesium, calcium, potassium, sodium, and their respective chlorides and such and such. That is a very possible thing that might occur, but I can't I don't know. I can't say fully, outright. I can't say for sure, but it's something that might be considered worth looking into as a potential side effect for coffee. In adult women, by the way. This was looked into for adult women. It was a tiny fucking thing. I think it needs to be looked into harder with a bigger group. More controlling. More factor controls and shit like that. But that I don't think that's gonna happen. There's too much of a fucking series of businesses around the sales of coffee. Decaffeinated or not. But it's whatever. I do think it's worth looking into, and I think we need to avoid conflicts of interest. And
raise their triglyceride level a tiny bit, But in both of these subpopulations, it doesn't seem to raise these two amounts a meaningful amount, meaning it's not going to affect your health in any way if you drink 4, 5, 6 cups of coffee a day, but it may make these numbers a tiny bit higher. Now let's talk about all the good things that coffee has been shown.
So he goes through, it gives the worst anti-coffee arguments.
Like, they're the main fucking ones, dumbass. They really are. Your opinionated smugness is fucking vulgar. Put it back. It's like your micropenis. Pull them both back into your pants. They're ugly and disgusting and tiny. Zip them up. And your ego's fucking huge. It looks like a tumor growing off of it. Fucking get it cut out.
This is okay. So before he says whatever he's gonna say, the benefits of coffee, the benefits of a poison, I'm gonna give you some reasons why coffee should not be consumed. Some very clear ones. So first, it's classified as a psychoactive substance.
Yeah. There's all kind of shit that has psychoactive capabilities, but are not hard drugs, and are not comparable to hard drugs because they have various pathways in how they're being how they're able to be psycho-fucking active. You don't know shit about fuck all, boy.
Because it can affect the central nervous system. It changes our mood, behavior, our cognition. Caffeine is also toxic to insects. So it can be used.
We're not fucking insects.
This is a natural pest control method in agriculture.
We're not fucking insects and rats, okay?
Caffeine is a stimulant for insects, so it causes them to be more active.
Do you know that's the pathophysiology for how insects die from caffeine or theobromine or both? I don't know. Why don't you back it up with something? All you have is just fucking a pill shilling here, and then you have fucking consultations that you're not fucking qualified to do at all, fucking quacking little brat, and then you're fucking, oh god, you got merch and everything. Jesus Christ. Like Miss Teresa O said, hand slapping a man who has improved the health and lives of millions while promoting useless pills.
And eventually leads to their death. Right? It literally makes them so...
Doesn't fucking make this valid. You saying to going on about it does not make it fucking valid. Period. They're insects. They're rodents. We're humanoids. We're Homo sapiens sapiens, motherfucker.
Active that they die. and why do we think that it would be good for us given that?
You don't have an argument here. You're just begging a question that has no foundation to it.
So, like, for example, in the Colorado potato beetle, a common agricultural pest that feeds on plants, caffeine is shown to be toxic, so it kills this bug. And studies also show that caffeine can be effective at controlling other types of insects.
So fucking what?
Like aphids and mites. So some things that you need to watch out for when you drink coffee that people don't talk about, or they do but not very much. At least Ken Berry certainly didn't. Caffeine overdose. So why would you want to drink something every day that you can literally overdose on? Can you overdose on steak? Not really. You can.
If you tried, you potentially could stuff yourself with steak till your stomach ripped open, but it's practically impossible in a matter of attempting it in practice. Why? Because your satiety signals are going to kick in long before that can even be tried. So, no. For that reason, no, it wouldn't be possible. But technically it is hypothetically or theoretically possible. You could fill yourself with so much meat, your guts start to fucking rip and come out, and yeah, that would be an internal bleeding risk. But again, way before that could even be near a possibility, your satiety signals will kick in.
Overdose on caffeine though, and it doesn't even 1,000 milligrams. You could very likely overdose. So also,
nobody drinks that kind of fucking level of caffeine. Plus, they do use caffeine as an enhancement to certain fucking drugs, like tramadol. synthetic opioid. Let's see. Apparently caffeine, I meant to say just caffeine, apparently might produce synergetic interactions on the I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Boy. Not even going to try. Apparently it has synergetic effects here. Drugs-forum.com. Combo coffee and tramadol. What the fuck? Let's put it this way. I drank a couple of cups of super strong coffee that somebody that I knows in their fucking 70s. They were in their mid or late 60s at the time. Essentially what happened, the combination of tramadol and the really strong brewed coffee, because I just had this tooth here taken the fuck out not too long before that, and it was killing me, and I needed to take some. Well, I had the shakes, everything was spinning bad, right? Well, I'll tell you what happened. I projectile vomited the whole, from the start of that bridge. Everybody was driving behind us and in front of us, or next to us, near us. I could see with the back mirror, and see that I was projectile spewing like the Exorcist onto the bridge, from all across that motherfucker, hanging out the window. Then I finally started feeling better afterwards, but holy shit. It just really is fucked up.
Increased heart rate. So caffeine increases your heart rate.
Yes, that's why I said if you have heart rate issues, you should start weaning away from it, like I've been doing. Slow weaning process away from it till you get rid of the coffee and then cut your caffeine at the bare minimum by 90% from what if you're drinking a lot of it, or if you got heart rate issues, and then see what happens. Under proper guidance and consultation, of course, and I would advise against going to Joey. He's not qualified. It's not often I give advice, but I would advise to stay away from Joey. He's not qualified. Now, if you want to go talk to somebody with a consultation, Bart K would actually be qualified. Dr. Ken Berry accredits himself. You could go to him instead.
This can be risky for people with heart problems, and he doesn't seem to mention that caveat at all.
Well, I am. And I mentioned the fucking renal issue, possible renal retention of electrolytes issue with caffeine.
At all. It can also cause acid reflux because coffee is incredibly acidic.
Phosphoric acid neutralization cures a lot of that. And GERD might not always be acid related. It could be lack of acid. You should check out Steve from Serious Keto in his raw episode of Vinegar Tonic Challenge.
It can cause heartburn in some people and lead to symptoms like pain and just problems swallowing. It also increases your risk of bone fractures. Of course, I don't like that.
It does not increase risk of bone fracture. You fucking mongrel.
Epidemiology, but we see that it's correlated with bone fractures.
But you called it risk. That is a cause and effect statement. You fucking dickwad. That was quack to do. Fucking quit it. Seriously. Sorry. I had to jump cut. I got interrupted with something.
And coffee being something for the affluent, given that it's actually associated with a lot of negative outcomes, and it is associated with some cancers like pancreatic cancer.
Only because of one compound, acrylamide. There's a maker of coffee that uses bacteria and enzymes together in a fermentation process in a controlled mass production plant, where they ferment green coffee beans with this way to break down reduce a lot of this acids, oxalates probably gone. Phosphoric acid's probably out the window in a lot of ways, and all kind of stuff's actually gotten rid of, and that includes acrylamide neutralized. You got to be careful if you're going to add certain. You only add a small touch of that shit to whatever coffee you're brewing, because woo, by itself I could not stand it. It's called eat cultured coffee.
Becomes pretty clear, in my opinion at least, that
that's your shitty opinion.
Coffee is not safe at all. And but let's see what benefits he cites, right? Benefits to this poison that plants use to defend themselves. The whole point of carnivore being that you avoid plant toxins. This is just crazy the more I think about it.
You're fucking dissonant because of your ego problem and you're Dunning-Kruger.
About it.
To do for the human species. And these things are based on both observational research, but there's also quite a bit of controlled research that's been done on coffee, because a lot of young researchers grew up trying to prove coffee was bad because of CW Post advertisements and the effect it had on their grandparents. But so there's way more controlled research about coffee than you might imagine. But some of these benefits are based on observational research, which, as you probably know, don't prove anything.
I wonder what randomized studies he would cite. I hope he at least gets into them slightly, because there's also studies, interventional, randomized studies, showing that you can add certain vegetables or fruits, and those confer a benefit, but he wouldn't cite those studies, so he has to somehow cite the distinction. Like, why is he cherry picking one and not choosing the other?
You don't know that he's cherry picking. He's going over his own takes on coffee.
If he's going to trust all randomized controlled trials, then, fine, but he's not doing that. He's
Could you not straw man, please? It's disgusting.
only trusting coffee ones that show a benefit because he likes to drink coffee.
Could you not straw man anymore? It's fucking gross. Quit it, boy.
And he wants to validate his own addiction, and
I've refuted that. You don't know that.
whatever, 300,000
Yeah, whatever. You're full of shit.
people that saw this video were given misinformation.
So definitely energy.
You called him a giver of misinformation, and you didn't back a goddamn thing up on your end. Fuck you.
Coffee has been shown to increase your energy level. It's been shown to increase your alertness, to increase both your short-term and long-term
Energy levels, you can say the same thing about sugar. You can say the same thing about sugar. Temporarily increase your energy, but oh my god.
You don't get the fucking argument. So your scoffing is just fucking projection at this point.
memory.
And then for the focus, you stress yourself out.
Stress has nothing to do with focus, you fucking dipshit. God damn.
You stress yourself out, then sure, you're more focused.
No. Stress has nothing to do with focus, you dipshit.
If I'm standing, for example, if I'm about to jump out of an airplane, right, and go skydiving or something, you better believe I'm going to be focused.
What does that have to do with your claim that stressing the body means more focusing? That's what you claimed. This has nothing to do with that, you dipshit.
Because the stress hormones, the adrenaline, are going absolutely insane.
That has nothing to do with focus.
This is not a sign of health or something being good for you.
Again, you didn't even make an argument. You couldn't connect A and Z together. There's like 24 other fucking steps in between A and Z. You just jumped over them. Fucking criminy.
Some of these have been done in controlled trials. It's been shown to increase your physical performance, and it probably does this by decreasing your reaction time physically, which it absolutely does do.
Because it's stress.
No. Again, stress does not equate to focus. Fuck off, kid.
Because it's stressful. You can take a cold shower instead.
You're equivocating two things you're connecting two things that don't even fucking connect, and you're equivocating shit off of that false connection that doesn't exist. You're delusional. You're claiming shit that's not there. You're fucking delusional.
People, it actually helps them enter ketosis easier because
Yes, it can.
it helps you break down fats that are stored in your body. And
In small dose, yes. That's very possible. I've got all the Ken Berry's references and the ones I got from the previous video and a bunch of others to go with it. Oh yeah. Positive and negative. You look at the shit and judge for yourself.
burn the fatty acids, that's a good thing. That actually can help you lose fat, which coffee has been shown to do in a couple of small studies, and then also in some of the larger.
To me, too small to be significant based on what I've learned from Bart, but regardless. But at least it's a start for something.
Observational studies, it looks like it's associated with not having a high BMI.
You know what else is associated with not having a high BMI? Eating lots of fruits and vegetables. So again, what is this? Like, this is actually frustrating. It makes me kind of angry to see. Because it's just there's a level of dishonesty to this.
You should not be talking about dishonesty at all.
Where it's choosing one thing, but not the rest. Just to, again, validate an addiction. This is not
You keep saying that it doesn't make it less false.
cool at all.
This isn't cool at all what you're doing.
Motion array is the quickest way to make your content.
It has been shown in large observational studies to be associated with increased mood, to be associated with an increased health span and an increased lifespan.
Yeah, I don't know about those associations. We can't confirm it. So, it's your choice. You want to drink it, you can. If you don't, don't.
To be associated with a decreased risk of type 2 diabetes.
Well, a decreased incidence, but still, so be it. And I'm not shitting on fucking Dr. Barry, I promise you. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him and the lovely Miss Nisha, okay? I've got nothing but respect and appreciation for them, for what they do. Nothing but love, respect, and appreciation for those two. And I wish them and their gorgeous family they have together the best. I sincerely mean that. So I'm not ragging on him. Him, I might give a couple of pieces of constructive critique, but again, that's all I'm doing. At worst. And it's not that often. I'm mostly ragging on this little fuck nugget right here.
Cancer, dementia, and Parkinson's disease. But of course, that's observational. That doesn't prove anything.
See, and he's confirming what I was saying, but I was mostly constructively critiquing his semantic inaccuracy in using the word risk. But that's a minor thing. It's just at best, it's at worst, it's a fucking shitty nitpick on my part. But still just pointing it out.
Just associated with that.
So why even say it then?
Again, why do you say anything? You do it all, Joey. Fuck.
I could bring up smoking is associated with longevity as well. So why not? You don't want to talk about that being good for us? Like,
Is it though? Because that's never been shown. Panther, I swear to God, fucking behave. Ah. Fucking hard-headed little shit. Anyway.
Coffee actually contains magnesium, manganese, and vitamins B2, B3, and B5.
I think B1 maybe, 2? I don't know. Maybe B1 as well. I forgot, but still.
so do fruits and vegetables contain a lot of this stuff as well. Why don't you endorse those? You can't and say something is good.
He did a video about vegetables. He listed certain ones. He thought he didn't see much of a problem with the consuming once in a while.
Good by virtue of it having nutrients. Soy has nutrients.
There you go. There's another screenshot for you, Joey. Of Joey for you, Luke. There it is. Make use of it as you will. Same with you, blinkers. If Blinkers jacks off, would his ejaculate be called blinker fluid?
antioxidants. Come on, this is really bad.
You're worse. Infinitely worse.
And if you're a big believer in antioxidants, it's a fun fact to know that coffee provides more antioxidants for the average American than all of their fruit and vegetable consumption combined. Now,
And now, oh, there's another one. Goddamn, I have a knack for this shit. I'm getting one. Oh, I can see Blinkers and Luke using this fucking frame of his Joey's face for some shit. I can see it now. God. Oh, my timing skills are getting lady titties. Oh, sorry. Oh. The fuck, dude. Jesus Christ, I gotta fucking...
than all of their fruit and vegetable consumption combined. Now,
Alright. See if I can do that again. Oh, Christ almighty. We can get electrons carrying a charge from the Earth into our bodies because we're living in the dielectric band in between where we live on and stand on and sleep on the negative electrode side, and the ionosphere is the positive electrode in the dielectric band. We're living in a giant gigacapacitor is what we live under in the middle of, and the Earth is the minus side, the ionosphere around it, which gravity holds down, and the ionosphere and the electromagnetic shield around it shields around as well. And whatnot. And so again, we have that. So then next we have glutathione production, which, guess what? Eat enough meat, you'll have every component needed for the most part to make glutathione. Lastly, we have superoxide dismutase. These are your three main antioxidant functions. Whether or not the antioxidants in coffee contribute and add to this or not is debatable. But I don't know. We don't know. We don't have enough knowledge on this area.
Oh, why is he saying this though? Like, why?
Just it doesn't hurt to point out a general statement. That's just a general statement. Again, it's a general fact, and it is a fact.
Why is he bringing this up? We know that the human body can use plant antioxidants. Those are antioxidants for the plant. They prevent...
Your gut biome can break down polyphenols and turn them into metabolites. Some people guts don't break down this as diverse an amount of them as someone else. Like, what was it? 1 in 3, 1 in 4 people in the States have the adequate enough gut biome diversity of different microbes that are capable of breaking down and converting elagitannins or whatever was it, the fucking acid and the tannin polyphenols of pomegranate, and convert them into urolithin A, which is actually the thing that you actually get use out of. And fortunately, they're selling MitoPure selling a product now called MitoPure, which gives you, when you go on a fast, you can combine that with a fasting tea and increase the likelihood of, after a certain period of time, of activating your autophagy of your cell's mitochondria, which has some huge implications.
Oxidation in the plant. We can't use that. We can...
Again, I disproved that to certain degrees from one example. We can absorb curcuminoids from turmeric. I give it its golden color, and our livers can make use of it for better. There's a fucking cancer patient that went to Paleo Medicina. In spite of the shit that Harry Serpanos and I could see too, by the way, had commented on the constructive criticism of the fucking you know, he went on the diet to keep his brain cancer from coming back. Now he eats raw organs and especially brain. Takes curcuminoids, potassium citrate, CBD, curcuminoids, and a couple other things. And he eats raw dairy and eats raw organ meat and stuff like that, and that's in certain ones anyway. And that's how he lives off of that. And I think mealworms as well. The chitin or whatever, I don't know, but for mealworms or something. So he eats that. That's what he has to do to live. I'll link that down below. So apparently it must be work, and he takes CBD on occasion as well, which can help in a lot of ways. So you say that, but people can break the compounds down into metabolites. The metabolites can be sent into the body. They can possibly have an effect for us, but more work needs to be done in research.
You can use antioxidants like cholesterol and like certain nutrients like glutathione that are produced endogenously. He knows.
And tightly regulated uric acid acts as an antioxidant in the body too. Most of you probably didn't know that.
That we can't use antioxidants.
So wait, we got 4 endogenous sources of antioxidants.
And plants. I don't know why why is he bringing this up?
Now let's get back to those myths that CW Post made very popular. There's absolutely no controlled, meaningful research showing that coffee will stunt your child's growth. No.
There are plenty of good reasons not to consume coffee.
Not really. You didn't give any.
Even if it doesn't impede or infringe upon your growth.
In fact, in some countries in Central and South America, children are weaned straight off the breast milk onto coffee, and they grow up tall and beautiful, so that's probably not true.
Yeah, because the association required for such a claim to happen, it'd have to be massive. Like, most kids would have to be fucking little... Don't hail me, guys. Midgets. Okay? I said the word. Oh! I can't even imagine Luke being a little hairy, giant-footed, giant hairy-footed little fucking hobbit with dark skin. It's hard to imagine. Okay, I get the picture. This is retarded as it sounds.
The myth.
Just because they're weaned on it and it doesn't end up destroying their height or their lives, whatever, it doesn't mean that it's good. Again, these are very weak pieces of evidence.
You haven't provided any. You claim to have cited one or two, but you didn't link them.
That drinking coffee is bad for pregnant women. This has been studied quite a bit in medical and nutrition research. There is no link. If a woman's drinking...
Yeah, again, there's associations for better and for worse. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything. That's the point. And a lot of these claims about coffee being causal to this or that or the other are all fictitious as well, because they're based off of sales pitches. A majority of them anyway. Not all of them, but a majority of them.
Drinking 1, 2, or 3.
I would look into that renal retention of electrolytes issue association in women and men alike down the line. I would advocate looking into that pronto. I really fucking would. I really would.
Cups of coffee a day is perfectly fine for both her and her developing fetus.
I'm not sure why he says this, given that there are studies showing the exact opposite of what he just said. That's actually really strange that he said that.
The
Again, the associations for and against these things are really not set in stone. There's too much of a mixture of for better and for worse.
hydration myth. In case you didn't notice, coffee is 99.5% water. So you, at worst, break even by drinking a cup of coffee as far as your hydration status goes. Coffee does not cause dehydration.
I mean, it might if there's something to the electrolyte pissing off thereof, then there might be something to it. I don't know. It needs to be seen about. It needs to be looked into. It needs to be verified, tested. It needs to be researched. Fucking research. We don't have it. So, again, but it needs to be considered. It needs to be checked into. It needs to be done. Anyway.
Again, these are bad pieces of evidence because they can be so
And
easy.
you have not provided one. You claim to have cited one. But I would have done if I was you, I would have said, go type, so on and so forth, name up on this website and see if you find it there. If not, I will find a link and send it. That's what you should do.
Easily disproven. For example, if you drink a Coke or some fruit juice, these things are not hydrating. These things make you thirsty for more.
That depends on the individual. And Coke has phosphoric acid, the thing that I talked about earlier.
Liquid for water, really. Just because coffee is predominantly water doesn't make it hydrating. It is a diuretic.
I mean, it is a diuretic, and there's some potential looking into when it comes to that electrolyte retention or lack thereof in the kidneys. So I would look into it. I don't see what's so fucking tough.
The other myths that coffee can cause heart disease, cancer, strokes, osteoporosis even. None of these are bear out in the medical and nutritional research.
But it is associated with pancreatic cancer and bone fractures.
Coffee doesn't
Associations don't mean shit.
do any of those bad things that CW Post said that coffee would do. Therefore, it's perfectly safe for you to drink 2 or 3, maybe even 4 cups of coffee a day.
Therefore, what? So he's basically saying, okay, by extension of coffee not being associated with you getting a stroke or a heart attack, you can drink 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day. He said therefore, so by extension, basically. What? Again, there's so much wrong with this so far.
You haven't offered any single proper argument of any fucking kind. There's a lot wrong with you. Okay? Cope, seethe, and fucking mauled.
You're welcome. So yeah, if that makes you happy, you're welcome. If you're surprised by this video, then yeah, I'm going to put all the research links down below in the show notes so you can check out the research that I read making this video. Please, if you like this kind of video and want to get notifications about videos like this in the future, click the subscribe button right down below this video and the little bell button right beside it so that every time I have a bright idea, you'll be one of the very first people to know. And if my videos have helped your health in some small way, or if you're very happy to learn that coffee is good for you, not bad, then please consider becoming a patron. My Patreon link's right down below. It's a super quick sign.
Okay. Again, this is a very disappointing video.
And I'm ending it here. I'm very disgusted. And nothing was ever debunked. Nothing was ever disproven. Nothing was... He said shit. With that, I bid you all adieu.